वेलकम टू प्रिंस शॉर्ट हाउस। हमारे यूट्यूब चैनल पर हम डेली डिक्टेट कर रहे हैं 80 वर्ड्स से मिनट, 100 वर्ड्स से मिनट एंड 140 वर्ड्स से मिनट। स्पेशल डिक्टेशन चल रही है उन स्टूडेंट्स के लिए जो तैयारी कर रहे हैं, लाइक अभी हमारी हाई कोर्ट हरियाणा, पंजाब, चंडीगढ़ के लिए। और उनको मैं स्पेशल सुझाव दूंगा कि हमारी यही डिक्टेशन जो मैं अभी 140 से अपलोड करने जा रहा हूँ, 80 वर्ड से मिनट ऑलरेडी अपलोड हो चुकी है और वही फिर हमने 100 वर्ड से मिनट अपलोड की है। और उसकी लगातार प्रैक्टिस कीजिए ताकि आपका हाथ फ्लो में चले, स्पीड से चले। और उसके बाद 140 भी लिखिए जो आपको किसी भी अदर टेस्ट के लिए आपके स्टूडेंट को मजबूत करती है, तैयारी अच्छी होती है, लाइक पार्लियामेंट रिपोर्टर। तो बी रेडी। एक्सरसाइज नंबर 1, 2, 3, 4, total 1680 words, 140 words a minute. Start. Sir, some days ago I had the honor of presenting to the House the report of the Planning Commission on the second 5-year plan. I presume that many members have read it since then, either fully or in parts. I have now the honor to move the following resolution. This House reports its general approval of the principles, objectives and programs of development contained in the second 5-year plan as prepared by the Planning Commission. Those honorable members who have read this report have probably not found it very light reading. A report of this type can hardly be termed light reading, although I believe there are many parts of it which are exciting reading. A few of us can say that we agree with every single word in this report and with every single proposal. A report of this type is the product of the labor of a great many persons, not only members of the Planning Commission but a vast number of other people who have been consulted. Among them are experts of our own country and of foreign countries and others representing various interests and professions in the country. As with all joint products, there is an attempt to meet different viewpoints. I hope this House will view the report as a whole, keeping in mind the unity of approach, objectives and methods and principles underlying it, and not so much the details. It is open, of course, to any honorable member to criticize or to make suggestions in regard to any part of the report, whether it be principles or details. But I submit that the important thing is to get hold of the main principles. I propose therefore to deal with the broad principles only. The subject of this report is obviously not only of the highest importance but something that produces in me very great excitement. It is an exciting subject because it deals with the future of 360 millions of people. To some extent that future will affect the future of the other countries and even of the rest of the world. It therefore becomes an enthralling and exciting subject. We are engaged in the shaping of the future of India. Surely there could be few subjects more exciting than this. It is therefore with a sense of the burden of history that I face this problem. It is also with a great sense of humanity because however great and however competent we may consider ourselves, we are small in relation to this mighty theme of building up our country and taking its millions of people forward during the next 5 years. These 5 years are only some kind of a period that we fix for our convenience because there are so isolated periods in the march of a nation. It is a continuous march. We must really think in terms of even longer periods and in terms of several 5 years plans. This is the second, and nobody thinks that at the end of the second plan we shall have been at the end of our journey. There is no journeys, and when a nation is marching, leaving out the ultimate ends, even such a goal as we envisages, the objective of the socialist pattern of society is not going to be achieved at the end of the first 5-year plan or the second. It may require 3 or 4 5 year plan periods before we can say with some confidence that we have very largely achieved it. Therefore, we must keep this large perspective in planning. Especially, we are apt to forget the larger perspective and lose ourselves in some particular aspect which is of importance and yet which may very well come in the way of the larger perspective. For example, take the question of regional development. We are all agreed that there should be a uniform development all over India. We are all agreed that disparities not only as between individuals in regard to income but as between the various areas in India should be removed, that there should be equality of growth and opportunity all over India. But if we start applying that principle regardless of the other objectives and perspectives, we may spoil the whole plan. We may not have very much to give to any reason. Therefore, in looking at the 5 year plan, we have to think really of several 5 year plans. That is why it is becoming more and more important that we should, in addition to the period we are dealing with, have a larger perspective in view. The second 5 year plan necessarily deal with what might be called material objectives. They are very important because it is on the basis of certain material achievements that we can build other achievements. The plan deals to some extent, no doubt, with culture and like matters. Nevertheless, it confines itself chiefly to material advance. That does not mean that we attach no importance to other aspects. We stand in the middle of the 20th century, and this period has been far-reaching changes all over the world. There have been wars and revolutions. The tempo of change is very great. Any plan that we make like this 5 year plan is subject to the great political, economic and technological changes that we are witnessing. All of us have some kind of ideology, some kind of philosophy of life. We may not be philosophers, but without some kind of philosophical or ideological approach, we would have no yardstick to measure things by. And yet, our ideologies and philosophies of life somehow do not fit in with this middle of the 20th century. This may be due to fact that though facts change and circumstances become different, we still hold on to old lines of thinking. The human mind is singularly conservative and it does not change easily. We hold on, if I may venture to say so, to some out of date philosophical or ideological approaches. Take the question of war. Many people say that because of various developments in the world, war has become our ought to become out of the question. War was useful, whether good or bad, if it helped you to realize your objective. When it does not do that, when in fact it does the reverse, then no person should indulge in war. I should like to extend that parallel a little further. If a war, atomic or other, is now something that can only be considered excessively foolish, Cold War becomes more and more absurd. Cold War exists, it does not, but really analyzed in the circumstances of days, it has a little meaning. Likewise, certain other approaches, some economic approaches, which may have a great deal of uh, truth, just do not fit in with the present circumstances. The major factor of today is the stupendous growth of technology and tremendous growth of the productive apparatus of society, the tremendous power that human being possess and are likely to possess in the form of atomic energy. These things are not qualitative changes but qualitative changes in society. Of course, in India, we have not been very powerfully affected by the technological process. We have read about it, but we have no real sensation of it. In planning, however, we have to think in technological terms for production of wealth or large scale. We are now going to have annual plans. Every year a report of the annual plan will be placed here, which will give a more precise indication of the targets for that year. I hope to place a report of the annual plan of the first year of the second 5-year plan before this house during the next session. We have said that our objective is a socialistic pattern of society. I do not propose to define precisely what socialism means in the context because we wish to avoid any rigid or doctrine thinking. Even in my life, I have seen the world change so much that I do not want to confine my mind to any rigid dogma. But broadly speaking, what do we mean when we say socialist pattern of life? We mean a society in which there is equality of opportunity and the possibility for everyone to lead a good life. Obviously, this cannot be attained unless we produce the wherewithal to have the standard that a good life implies. We have therefore to lay great stress on equality, on the removal of disparities, and it has to be remembered always that socialism is not the spreading out of poverty. The essential thing is that there must be wealth and production. There is a good deal of talk about ceilings, and one naturally tends to agree with it because one wants to remove disparities, but one has always to remember that the primary function of a growing society is to produce more wealth, otherwise it will not grow and one will have nothing to distribute. If in the process of fixation of ceiling or in any other method of producing some kind of equality you stop this process of wealth accumulation, then you fail in your objective. Therefore, whether it is in industry or agriculture, the one and the primary test is whether you are adding to the wealth of the country by increasing the production of the country. If not, you become stagnant in that field. In order to reach equality, as I hope we shall some time or other, we need not follow the road of some artificial fixation of ceilings, but a 100 path which gradually take us there. An artificial attempt may indeed prevent us from reaching it. Remember this while we plan, while we work, our population also grows. I gave the how just now the estimated figure of our national income in the next 20 years. By the end of that period, the population of India will be round about 500 million. This rate of population growth is not that very great. Stop. Thanks.